Hello everyone and welcome to another video. I am happy to present to you my picks and recommendations for Valentine's Day fragrances. Now, I know Valentine's Day is a couple of hours away if you're seeing this by now, but I wanted to give you guys some quick suggestions just in case you have time to run out to the store and grab some fragrances. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Now, first thing that I want to keep in mind is just a general thought of what my feelings are for Valentine's Day fragrances. Now, the first thing to note is that it should be sensual. Obviously, a lot of people are looking for a sensual fragrance, a fragrance that will be memorable, one that will smell good on you, and one that will attract the opposite sex or same sex if that is your prerogative. Now, with that, let's just give you a couple of examples. So, one example that I like to give out is Dior Homme Intense. Now, this is an older version of Dior Homme Intense, but a lot of the newer versions work the same way. This is a heavily iris-based fragrance. It's got some chocolate notes in it. It's very sensual. It's a fragrance that is powerful, yet at the same time doesn't feel too powerful. So it does really good in that regard. It's also a darker fragrance. A lot of my Valentine's Day fragrances that I choose happen to be darker fragrances that are more on the mysterious side, if you will. M7 from Yves Saint Laurent is another one that I have in my fridge. Didn't bring out, but either way, that's another fragrance that you can kind of look at that kind of goes along the same lines as this. Now that one has oud in it, but it's more of a safe oud, if you will. So those are two examples. Another example, this one is a rock star as far as compliments go and as far as night out fragrances go. We're talking about La Nuit de l'Homme from the house of Yves Saint Laurent. Now, Yves Saint Laurent in general has a couple of good fragrances that you can look at. Look at the original L'Homme. You can look at, I believe, the frozen version of it's like this ginger version of it. That's actually a nice one. A lot of the ones that you can get from Yves Saint Laurent really do really well. But this one specifically sticks out. It's got this powdery scent to it. It's, again, another very sensual scent. It's got spices to it. This is probably one of the best, if not the best of the lot that I'll recommend, that you can easily find around. Go look at Macy's. You'll find some fragrances, this fragrance in particular, that you can see. All right? Now, I have an older version, but the newer versions don't last as long, which is why I'm saying I have an older version. But they will last long enough for you to enjoy the night. Now, next on the list is Pure Malt. Now, this may be a little bit harder to get if you're really trying to get something for tomorrow, but you can order this one online from the Mugler site. This is a good fragrance to have. It's whiskey, it's chocolate, it's definitely very sensual. It's got some patchouli in it, and it's one that I have found that a lot of women like. So look at this fragrance as another example of something that you can wear for Valentine's Day. Now, the Mugler line in general has a bunch of good fragrances that all kind of have that same vibe to it, but I found Pure Malt to be probably the best of the bunch when you're talking about sensuality. All right? Now, another one from the house of Dior, we've got Salvage. Now, Salvage, in my opinion, is probably the best compliment-getting fragrance that you can get out there. And if you're going on a blind date especially, this was one that you can definitely throw on, and you will almost definitely smell good to the person that you are with. It's a little bit on the expensive side as far as a designer fragrance goes. It's going to run you upwards of 80 or so plus, even for the small sizes. But I found it well worth it, and especially if you're looking for something that's going to smell good, this is going to be right up your alley. And finally, we have one from the house of Bentley, actually. It's Bentley's Intense. It's a fragrance that is very similar to one of my other favorite fragrances, which is Chambre Noire from the house of Olfactive Studios. That one's a little bit harder to get, and it's also a little bit more expensive. This one, it's on the cheaper vibe. It doesn't smell exactly the same, but it smells relatively the same, close enough. It's got this Play-Doh-y vibe to it, which sounds weird, but I think it works. My wife is not really a fan of this one as much as she likes the other one, but I found that it does pretty well in that scenario. Now, this one is a little bit of a cheaper one. You can find this relatively cheap, around 30, 40 bucks, I believe. So, take a look out for this one. In general, if you are looking for fragrances that are going to, attract the opposite sex, again, look for those darker fragrances, look for the spicy fragrances, look for fragrances that aren't too heavy. So for example, a fragrance to me that's too heavy for a date fragrance is a fragrance like 1 Million. On the other hand, Invictus, I think, is a little bit better suited to being a date fragrance than 1 Million is. So it's really up to your own personal preference. But again, those notes, fruity notes come to mind when you have it. Vanilla is also a very good fragrance to have in it. Lavender, comes off as pretty good for a sensual fragrance. And rose, if you can find a good enough rose, that will often fit. All right, so that's pretty much it. Those are my suggestions for Valentine's Day fragrances. And let me know what your thoughts are. Leave a message down below. Give some suggestions to other people. Sorry this came out so late. I've been pretty busy, but hopefully better late than never. All right, thank you guys. Take care of yourselves, and you guys have a great day.